Not a good start for Larsson. I was amazed by that statistic, but then I always am, Fred, when you pointed out how many games Agassi has won against serve, 44%.
The early going here, it's a very tough serve to pick. Magnus Larsson, you can see that he lays the wrist back, and you cannot determine whether he's going to go out wide or he's going to go down the tee with it. It's a good snap of the wrist at the last minute.
First time that Larsson has been in the semi-final in the US, but he has played so well lately. Ranked number 16, and that's his highest ever. Over 1.7 million.
That doesn't count the $2 million he won last year.
Grand Slam Cup, where he beat Agassi on the way.
They beat Agassi, Todd Martin, and then Pete Sampras.
Yeah, he more than doubled his prize money in 1 week at the Grand Slam Cup. As for Agassi, he is also ranked now as high as he's ever been. He's trying to climb to #1, and I think he will before June. Career earnings of over 8 million, dwarfed by his off-court earnings. Michael Jordan, of course, is in another world in terms of endorsement potential, but I think any disagreement that Agassi is the highest endorsed potential player in tennis for sure.
Way ahead of anybody else.
Game point Larsson. One game to love Larsson as he wings in 118-mile-an-hour ace in the first game. Agassi will serve his first serve game after this. Agassi trailing 1-0, but he will serve. Let's take a look at the men's draw. It was Pete Sampras over Medvedev, so close yesterday. Fred's really talked about that match. Bjorkman over Wieland, the same story. It was just unbelievable that Bjorkman came back down 5-2 and against serve. And then Larsson took that home years ago, got to the quarterfinals at the US Open last year.
Leaves us with the US Sweden Davis Cup final in the semis.
Isaga, remember, took out Pete Sampras in that dramatic match at Flushing Meadow last year during the Open. Love 30.
Another huge forehand there from Magnus Larsson as we examine the strengths and weaknesses of the #2 player in the world. The return of serve, of course, we've shown you that. And passing shots, if Larsson gets to the net. I put his weakness down as volleys. When he goes in behind a good approach shot, Agassi's technique on the volley is very good. If it's a high shot from the low ones, then I think that is, if he's got a weakness in his game, as confident as he is at the moment, I think that is it.
It's exactly right, Fred, but the thing is that he does not base winning a match on a volley.
No, exactly. No, that's why that's his weakness. That's where I don't think that Larsson can stay with Agassi the way Sampras did in Indian Wells on that two-fisted backhand side. He doesn't have the control that Sampras has on that backhand, nor does he have that three-quarter pace shot that goes about 10 feet over the net that bothers Agassi from the baseline. But Larsson does have a huge forehand. And if he has an opportunity like that, he can put them away. That one was
called wide.
Daniel Lecanto in the chair seemed to call it good, though.
And it has been overruled,
so it's been overruled. So now a break point opportunity in this opening game behind three great forehands from Larsson.
I tried to run around that one, and he didn't have enough time. This is sort of a whiplash forehand, you know. It's a the way that he swings at it, it's again like you know, his upper body moves and then he whips the rest of his arm into the shot.
Pretty much the same sort of thing can be said about the serve. He gets great wrist action on it. And a swinging serve from Agassi. He's a little deceptive on the serve, Agassi. That was a 99-mile-an-hour swinger out to the forehand side.
Fred, that is true of the serve. He sort of moves his body into it and then the arm follows.
He's a big jumping Swede, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
You know, looks like he should be a lumberjack or something. I think that's why his serve is so big, his forehand is so big. He actually moves pretty well for all of his height.
6'3", Mary. I think
He
he's
looks
a little taller than that.
Yeah, I do too. He's a big boy.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, he moves well for his height, but he's not near as quick as Agassi.
No. He's kind of limber, you know.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
looser than a lot of the tall guys like Todd Martin.
Kind of rubbery.
And that's a double fault there, but his strength is that serve. He served an ace to close out the opening game, and then that huge forehand that you've seen him hit some great winners from.
I think Larsson's going to get in trouble because his ground strokes take a long time to produce. They're very much clay court swings. Agassi's are much more compact, much quicker through the air, and hit from much closer to the baseline.
Love 30 now on Larsson. That's the end where he's having problems with the sun.
Yeah, it's a bad time of day here, 1:15. And the sun is right up there in the ball toss area. Missed it.
Boy, Agassi was busy at that point, wasn't he?
Yeah, you can hear those. I like the way our sound system works down there with the little, you can hear the footwork down there, the little squeaking of the sneakers. That's short steps. You've been coached and your coach tells you, hey, the best way to get around the tennis court is little short steps. Then Agassi does it. You can hear him doing it. Larsson, on the other hand, a much taller person, and his mobility is not anywhere near the same as Agassi.
TMG, too much game from Agassi here. He won that one easily against the less mobile Larsson. See how this thing progresses. It's 2-1 with a break, first set. Our ESPN coverage of the Lipton concludes tonight with the second men's semifinal. Defending champion, world #1 Pete Sampras takes on Jonas Bjorkman. Tonight at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, at 10 o'clock on the West Coast here on ESPN. You can watch the finals live this weekend on ABC, 1 o'clock for the women's and 2 o'clock on Sunday for the men's.
A love break adds to the streak of Agassi now. 7 straight points. And no unforced errors yet from Agassi.
Agassi checking the position of the sun also.
That is wide. I was out there this morning watching some of the quickie wheelchair tennis invitational that Butch puts on every year. It's terrific. There are players here from Australia, from Sweden, from Holland. Most of them, of course, from the US. One from Japan. Guys are great. Butch Buckles is the tournament chairman, father of the event.
Two unforced errors now from Agassi.
Magnus Larsson more comfortable on clay. That's the big forehand. Loops that one. This is a good low backhand from him, but he has a lot more time on clay to play those strokes. As Mary said, very big swings on everything here.
Trouble for him now. And Agassi wins the point. Big one, too. Agassi was down love 30 on his first serve, down love 30 in this one. He's come back here to 15-30.
There's Brad Gilbert, and that was an opportunity for Larsson to really get 3 break points here, and he comes back. I put down the low volley as his weakness, Magnus Larsson, because he just does not, look at that, he's no footwork on this one, and Agassi gets up there in plenty of time. Larsson, if he goes in behind those big forehands, gets a high volley, can put them away. The low volleys, though, this is a ground strokers match, this one. Larsson, you're not going to see go in unless he gets in behind the big forehand. Same can be said for Agassi.
But his two-hander is not near as fearful as that one-handed flick shot that he hits off the forehand.
Well, his two-hander is not as good. The two-handed backhand is not as good as Sampras's two-hander because he doesn't give it a little bit of air, what we call. He doesn't have much margin for error on that shot.
You mean Agassi's two-hander?
Agassi's.
You've been watching too much of Sampras.
No, Sampras, I meant to say Sampras is one-hander because Sampras beat Agassi last week, and two-fisted backhand here is not as effective.
A break point here for Larsson.
Even on that volley there, it was a very purposeful forehand volley. He didn't really do too much with it. It gave Agassi another crack at a passing shot.
He has a second break point chance for Larsson. Only been broken twice this week. So there is the third break against Agassi's serve. And it's 2 games all. They've traded breaks in the early stages.
Agassi is so very tough on a hard court. Not true, really, for Larsson. More hell for him than heaven on this stuff. He's a clay guy. He can play very well, obviously, with that huge serve and forehand on the slick indoor surfaces as well. But he has never won a hard court title.
Remember in the Davis Cup, Mary, he went out on the first day to Sampras, but then he took out in the 5th and deciding match Todd Martin. And that put Sweden in the final, and then Sweden won it last year over Russia.
He could be a very good hardcourt player, Larsson, but he still gives away a little bit more court than the best hardcourters, standing behind the baseline to give himself time to produce those long swings. Yeah, if he's in there like that, he can turn around his hardcourt record. And the big serve, this one, 112, not even one of his biggest, but it gave him something loose to play with.
A lot of the players are like that now. If they get that one in, we're talking about 112, 115 mile an hour, anything around that service line area. They've all got a big shot, and it happens to be a forehand. And they hit those shots away for winners the way a serve and volleyer would close in and knock off a volley. So rather than play the serve and volley, they wait for the ball to bounce and then put it away.
117 mile an hour, big serve. 123 on that one, and Larsson has won the game easily. 3-2. He's leading now on serve. Agassi will deliver after this.
This award.
One of the greats of all time, Jack Kramer. Tremendous player. Three games to 2. Larsson leading love 15 in this one. We talk a lot, you know, with the old timers, which of course we don't qualify as, you and I, Fred, but I swear Jack Kramer's name comes up every time you talk about those among the best that ever played.
Yes.
Gonzalez, Hode, Laver, obviously. Oh, what a move from Larsson, and again he has love 30. Agassi served 3 times. 3 times he's been down love 30. He's been broken once.
And he's only been broken a couple of times this week, so it just shows you that Larsson has been doing the right thing with some big forehands. He just rolls this one across, and Agassi, that was the weakness we put down at the volley. If he's not there and comfortable with it, didn't have anything on that volley, it allowed the long arm of Magnus Larsson to scoop that one back cross court.
Very streaky match. Now Larsson with a nice run.
Look at that. He missed it. He barely missed it.
Matter of inches here, this game, and there. That's 2 opportunities had in the last couple of games to get to love 40.
He'd won 8 straight points, Larsson. And that one sure didn't miss by much.
No.
He's seen the ball very nicely today.
There again, once that ball gets down low, he grabs at the forehand volley and also the backhand. He doesn't. It's not firm enough. Snaps at it. Two break points now for Larsson. Well, that was poor footwork there on a second serve. He was looking for a forehand. Good second serve, good deep second serve from Agassi. Forced Larsson just to poke the ball from off his body. Couldn't get it into court.
And sails long and it's deuce.
Boy, he has not played very well on the big points so far, Larsson. He's had a couple of opportunities and a couple of love 30 games, and those two there, popped one backhand long. That two-handed backhand missed by 10 feet.
And an ace from Agassi.
You can't keep letting Agassi get away with that.
He's second and he's got a game point. I feel like this is a big game for Larsson here at love 30 and 15-40. He had chances. He lets it slip against Agassi and or Sampras, for example. You don't get that many. Three games all. Been a good season for Larsson, hasn't it?
Oh, yes. Really, since right after the U.S. Open last year, he played really well. Won Toulouse, and then when indoors was a runner-up in Antwerp, he won Doha. His ranking is right now 16. After this week, he'll probably come in around 12-ish, which makes him the highest-ranked Swede in the world. Stefan Edberg currently number 15.
He now believes in himself, Larsson. A couple of years ago, he could win a match here and a match there, but he now believes that he deserves to be there with the top players in the world.
Well, I think a lot of it started at that Davis Cup match when he took out Todd Martin, helped his confidence, and he won the Grand Slam Cup, as you already mentioned, Mary.
Helped Sweden win the Davis Cup.
Exactly. Took out Sampras and Agassi there at the Grand Slam Cup. And then those two results that you talked about, I mean, he believes in himself, and confidence is so much a part of what makes a winner, as everybody knows. Love 15th, though. Trouble now. 3 games all serving into the sun. 117 mile an hour, unreturnable.
And again, you don't often see Agassi caught that way. Just with one hand on the racket, it went past him. Normally he sees the ball very early. That means he's having problems picking up the direction of the serve. And he has the best eyes, the fastest hands around that baseline area in the business.
Just short of being there in time to hit an effective shot. He's looking up here at his coach's corner.
Rather a lucky volley here from Larsson. He doesn't do a good job on it. Clips the tape, and that's what caused the problem for Agassi. It stayed very, very low. He couldn't quite reach it in time to get it up and down over the net.
Missed it.
30 all.
Boy, he'd gotten an attackable return of serve. Agassi forced wide again, and very nearly another one-handed backhand return.
That's a serve that
moving it around the box well.
Hurt Agassi, that big kicker to the backhand side, because he has the snap of the wrist. I think his kick serve gets up higher than anybody else's out there on the tour.
Look where Agassi is to return.
That's That's a good sign, though, Cliff, that Agassi has made that minor adjustment.
Well, you got that right.
He's giving himself a fraction of a moment of time to see the ball a little bit better.
Yeah, he doesn't do it all the time. He just mixes it up, and that I think is even better. Gives the server a different perspective.
Break point now for Agassi.
But that serve is on the line, and it's back at deuce. By the way, you're talking about not losing since Toulouse, and the good effort that Larsson has made. Let's talk about Andre Agassi. Since the U.S. Open, the start of the U.S. Open, he's only lost 4 times. 2 of them to Pete Sampras, including last weekend, and then 1 to Enquist, 1 to Ivan Izovich. That's it. The heck of a record.
I don't know what Larsson was thinking about doing there, because Agassi sort of stood behind the baseline, did not get a good piece of it. Larsson just tried to finesse that, just roll that over, because Agassi was behind the baseline, tried to trap him and catch him by surprise with a little short backhand. He's now down another break point.
I think he was looking up at the sun, Fred, as if on the serve maybe.
Didn't see it when he came back.
Steers that one wide, and there's a break for Agassi. Both times he's broken him. As I remember, Larsson was serving into the sun. It's really a factor here at this time of day. 1:30. It's 4-3. Agassi with a break. First set. Out there on the West Coast, covering the Newsweek Champions Cup. Hope the weather's as good as it was when we were out there. It's pretty good here in Miami. On Key Biscayne, it is Andre Agassi to serve, leading 4-3 first set.
We've been talking about Andre Agassi, how well he's done this year. His record is 23-2. And the Australian Open, he won a couple of titles, finalist last week at Indian Wells, and only lost 6 sets in 25 matches.
All. Larsson really thought he got hooked on that first call, the baseline. He cannot hurt you on the backhand side.
Not unless you get a short ball. He can rip that two-handed down the line, Cliff, and as well as if he gets the short ball or the around three-quarter court. But the slow deep ball where he's got to generate his own pace is a tough one for him to handle. Not a lot of footwork with those 3 or 4 shots from Larsson, just sort of a half a step here, and he thumps a two-fisted backhand. It comes back at him, and he tried to make that forehand without really moving his feet. Unforced errors there. Look, Larsson with 18 of them, and Agassi with only 5.
10 point. It's not easy to do what he just did. Spinner backhand. Game Agassi, and he's got 5-3. Agassi Enterprises headquarters out there in Palm Springs. Perry Rogers and his brother both very much involved, and they started the Agassi Foundation, which has already handed over $1 million to help build a new building for the Boys and Girls Club of Las Vegas.
15. It's Perry Rogers, his old buddy who now helps run Agassi Enterprises.
Coach Gilbert in front of him.
Well, that's 2 aces in a row from Larsson, but still down that vital service break, 126 miles an hour. That's getting up there. I think Sampras served one last night at 127. That may be the fastest one of the week here. 137 miles an hour is the fastest one of the year by the young Canadian lefty, Greg Rusetsky. 137 mile an hour, that's a big one. They actually got a standing ovation when he hit that serve. It was in Europe.
Game point. Yep. Game to Larsson, and Agassi kind of jogs to the sidelines. He's ready to serve for the set. Why waste any more time, he says. 5-4. That's what he'll do after they take a break. We will too. Andre Agassi to serve for the first set here. Semi-final of the Lipton Championships. Beautiful Key Biscayne. And the tennis center at Crandon Park is our host for these. It's not a week-long tournament. It's 10 days long. It's men. It's women. 96 draw. It's a great event here at the Lipton. It's really become part of what people in Miami do in the, I guess, late winter, early springtime. Steered that one long.
Boy, that was a sitter because it was a mishit return from Larsson. And he looks up to Brad Gilbert's as well. I don't know how I missed that one, but it opens the door so slightly for Larsson, but he hasn't been able to convert any of these love 30 games on the Agassi serve.
Larsson's just 1 of 4 on return, on break points. Agassi 2 of 3.
Agassi wants a call, but he's not.
No,
Yeah,
Daniel
he is.
Lacano agrees with Agassi.
Yep, he's pulling it wide.
Very quickly, chair umpire Daniel Lacano corrects that call.
See it again.
Well, Agassi's just having words with the lines judge back there. I won't tell you what he said, but he said actually it was a bad call. So Daniel Lacano overruled that call, and it's 15 all.
Plastic.
The top of a tennis ball can.
Yep.
That is rolling across the court.
That you have to stop playing for something like that. Again, Agassi's talking to Brad Gilbert again.
This is fun.
There's some irony maybe in that statement. But he's serving for the set, 5 all.
Some terrific firepower from the Swede. Again off that forehand side. Agassi's having a problem chasing down a ground stroke. You know, it's been pretty well struck. Now 15-30. Very quickly, Lepanto in the chair agrees with the call that it was wide.
Second serve. They've only played once before, as we've said. They've never played in the official tour, but the Grand Slam Cup is as good as at the end of the year, played in Munich. And Magnus Larsson won that, so that's the only memory these two have of playing against each other. And Larsson's not an easy kind of player to get into a rhythm against because, you know, he's that wild serve and then the big forehand, and you're on your heels a lot of the time.
It was in that match that Andre Agassi had a couple of warnings. He doesn't like to talk about that match. Very well because he said, hey, it was one of those things. It was the end of the year. It was not an ATP Tour event. I wasn't really up for it. And I did some things that I normally wouldn't do. So Magnus Larsson there.
Got a set point here, though.
first double fault. And it was on a set point. Yeah, he definitely does not like playing this guy. This guy makes him edgy.
Yep. That is a super serve. His third ace, Agassi.
And they've all been to that spot. Out wide to the forehand on the deuce court.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a lopey kind of a guy, but, you know, he'll stroll up to that thing, and if he gets there, look out.
Well, you don't have to be as quick as Agassi if you're as big and tall.
He just lopes around here. That slice, though. The slice backhand just doesn't have any firepower on it, but that one, boy.
Deuce. Yeah, as you said, he's had success winging that first serve into the strength of Larsson, the forehand side.
Agassi takes a lot of little steps to cover the court. Larsson takes about 4 giant big steps, and he's there. He looks as though he's slow on the court. It's just that the way he lopes around.
Third set point. That one clipped the line.
Well, that's 3 big forehands in that 1 point. A couple of those would have been winners against anybody else but Agassi. There's the second one, and he basically gets it back. It's pretty deep into that corner, and the finishing shot is, look how he gets. He's outside the doubles line, and he hits that one away from the body with such power inside the service line up there for the winner.
So much for not having firepower for backhand. He can really crunch that one, and now he's got a break point against Agassi. Agassi serving for the set at 5-4.
Has not been able to convert break points. He's had a few.
Tape, and they are now even at 5 games all. Gee, had his chances there 3 times. He had set point, and he lost the point. Agassi is trailing Pete Sampras by just a few hundred points, as you can see. Becker is behind them, and then Michael Chang closing in on Becker. You've got Bruguera, won the French. Goran Ivanisevic had a solid year last year, but has started poorly. And then Berasitegi, French Open finalist last year. Here's Brad Gilbert.
Not used to watching his guy lose 3 set points. I'll tell you what, though, Magnus Larsson is a master of saving match points in the semis of the French last year. Remember that guy, Hendrik Driekman, the German player? He saved 6 match points and beat Driekman. And then in Antwerp, where he got to the final, he saved 7 match points against Cedric Pioline. He's good at this stuff. Goes out. And in fact, your Aussie mate, Michael Tebbett, Byrie, had a pretty good time here. He saved 11 match points here. 5 against Jeff Tarango in the first round, 3 against Guy Forget, and then 3 against Carson Brosh before Brosh finally beat him.
That's a fine return from Agassi. Good depth on that one.
15-30, and Larsson again serving into the sun.
This is where he's had his problems.
Yeah, he's lost it twice there, hasn't he? there's that one long, so it's 30 all. Correct me if I'm wrong, Fred, because you're a scorekeeper here. He hasn't won his serve from that side, has he?
On one occasion.
The thing is, you know, as hard as Agassi is hitting the ball, again, Larsson is such a big guy. He's got enough power of his own that he's getting back an awful lot of very heavy ground strokes.
You talk about the returner serve when we started this match, Fred, and look at that. He's got 30 all. The guy serves 121 mile-an-hour boomer into his backhand side, and he just clips the thing back like it's a Sunday afternoon in the park.
He's starting to pick the serve a little bit better now, Agassi, and if you can do that and get the racket on the ball as early as he does, then your opponent's in trouble.
Break point called good. Larsson's not going to be happy with it, but Agassi's got another break, and Larsson cannot really serve from that side. Agassi will serve for the set for the second time after a break. Here's the last point with Agassi breaking Larsson for the third time in the set. Look at this.
That shot Larsson thought was long. It didn't get called that way, so there, another break for Agassi. And remember, he was broken last time up when he was serving for it.
Well, he's up that end now as well, and that's where the sun is a problem.
This is live coverage of the men's semi-final. The other semi-final match will be played tonight, and it's going to be Pete Sampras and Jonas Bjorkman. And I guarantee you one thing. The promoters here and Butch Buckles, tournament chairman, are hoping it's another Agassi-Sampras final.
Bjorkman Larsson would go over well in Sweden. That's way out. Jonas Bjorkman is the real surprise of the semis, much in the same way Patrick Rafter was the surprise semifinalist here last year.
He's put together some pretty good tennis, though, this year. I watched him play against Sampras at Queen's Club before Wimbledon.
Yeah, how about the U.S. Open, Bjorkman?
He's not only a doubles player now.
That was on the line, and Bjorkman doesn't like that call. But there's going to be no overrule. Nor should there be on that one. I think he's clipped the line. 15 all. Bjorkman got the quarterfinals. Remember how he took out Edberg here last year at the U.S. Open? Straight sets. I mean, it was like 2, 3, and 4 or something.
Swedish Davis Cup team now pretty much is Larsson and Bjorkman. Stefan Edberg still playing little. And Sweden, of course, defending champs of the Davis Cup competition.
They very nearly went out in the first round, didn't they?
Well, set points now for Agassi after 5 service breaks in this opening set.
Agassi has finally won the first set. He served for it and then lost his serve at 5-4 and then immediately broke back against Larsson, and now he has won the first set 7-5. We've been talking about this Butch Buckles. I guess we're going to have to listen to him now as well. Butch Buckles is the father of this tournament. He's the tournament chairman, just about everything that you can name relative. Thanks for joining us, Butch. First of all, that semi-final match yesterday in the women's was a heartbreaker, wasn't it?
A definite heartbreaker. Really felt sorry for Gabby. You know, this is her second experience in at a match like that, and I just hope it doesn't have any long-term effects on her. She's such a great asset for tennis and for women's tennis.
That sails wide. In case you missed our coverage yesterday, Gabriela Sabatini was up 6-1, 5-1 against Kimiko Date of Japan and figured out a way to lose the second and third sets in tiebreaks. And it was a heartbreaker to watch. It was like watching a nervous breakdown. 15-all. That stayed in.
What we have been saying about this championship, that, you know, if you live in the South Florida area, the Lipton is something that people kind of are getting used to doing now at this time of the year. It's like part of the psyche of this part of the state, and you must just feel great about it.
Cliff, we're very excited about it. You know, we think that the stadium certainly has changed everything for us in terms of the image of the event, certainly from the players' point of view and our sponsors. And we're just going to try to reach out a little bit past South Florida and go to South America and Europe. And as you know, you can't buy a ticket at Wimbledon, French Open, U.S. Open. You can still buy some tickets here at Lipton. And so we're going to try to expose the tournament to South America and the rest of the world.
30-all.
Larsson can't afford to let this early going affect him in the second set. If he goes down a break this early, it spells trouble. First point.
First game, second set. Deuce. The Lipton is now in its 11th year. Prize money has risen from 1.8 million to 4.1. Where'd you get it all, Butch? This is coming out of your pocket.
Well, I think a lot of people here in South Florida, our fans, help. Actually, we reached a budget of $14 million this year, and 65% of that money comes from our sponsors, 25% comes from our fans, our box holders, and ticket holders, and the remaining amount of money comes from basically our concessions and television and our retail. So we'd like to change that number and make it that part a little stronger.
Game to Larsson, 1 game to love. Larsson on serve, second set, but Andre Agassi, the number 2 player in the world, won the first. Agassi won the first set 7-5. Larsson 1 game to love in the second. Everybody wants to know why the big change in Andre Agassi's game. Maybe it's this guy that you're looking at now that made the difference.
Brad is great because he has, he has great priorities in coaching. You know, he doesn't sweat the small stuff, so to speak. You know, the times where I get a little frustrated on the court, or the times where maybe I make a bad decision here or there at a crucial moment. That's not the place where he really focuses on. You know, he deals with me on preparation and our practices. A lot of things he teaches me are subliminal, really. I mean, in our practice, at the end of the practice, I realized that he worked on something that I didn't even realize. We'll play these approach shot, passing shot drills, and then he has a specific plan for each guy I'm playing against. It helps me step out there with a mindset and keeps me in a tunnel vision versus letting outside things interfere. And there's just a million different ways he's managed to direct my career.
Yeah, he has done a heck of a lot.
The 1 year mark. I mean, this is where those two hooked up with one another. It was at the Lipton of '94. At the time, Agassi was still pretty much recovering from wrist surgery. He was ranked 32 in the world, and now he's 30 spots better than that.
Mary, I'll never forget what he did last year. You know, he could have won the tournament by just saying, I'm not going to give Sampras...
An ailing Pete Sampras.
An ailing Pete Sampras extra time, and we went and talked to Andre, and he said, no, I want to play tennis. I want to win. I want to try to win this match. And you give him all the time he wants. I really think that Andre should get, obviously, a lot of credit for that, but I think the kids that are playing today are really good kids, and they need to show more, to the public of the quality, the type of person they are.
You know, Bush, I never doubted it. I never imagined that he would say, I want it. I never doubted it.
There were guys before him that would have taken it.
You're darn right. 30-all. Game point now for Agassi. Done that a few times, hasn't he? Climbed back from love 30 down.
Well, now it's 1 year later. Andre Agassi and Pete could very well meet each other in the Lipton final here on Sunday. On Monday, they're taking the Concorde, flying to London, and playing as teammates in Davis Cup against Italy, suspending their race for #1 for that week.
We're going to miss you there, Mary. We're down in your hometown, Sicily. We've got to talk to some of you got any guys down there we should talk to?
I'll be watching. Sounds good. Yes, excellent stuff. Very quick work from Magnus Larsson. Stayed on top of the ball there and made some nice small steps to force the play off the short ball. Agassi losing length in this rally, push behind the baseline, and Larsson gets to dictate. It's deuce.
And now game point for Agassi. Good move. Butch Buckhouse, tournament chairman, sitting with us. And Butch, for all the talk about the opportunities in tennis and the resurgence of tennis as a sport, I mean, you're sitting here on top of, you know, the second greatest tournament in America. What do you think about it?
Well, I think you really have to compliment the ATP and the WTA for realizing that maybe tennis has sort of fallen asleep over the last 10 years. And I think they've done a good job in bringing smash tennis to kids and making kids aware that the sport is cool. And obviously, if you have somebody like Andre Agassi who's leading that, it's a big help. And I'm very encouraged by the fact that the tennis industry is getting together and saying we need to do more to bring tennis to the masses in our country.
4 aces for Agassi. Game point. Agassi has held on, and it is 1 game all. Our coverage heads across the Atlantic next weekend for the second round of the Davis Cup. I'm going to be pushing the pasta plate away from Fred Stoller. U.S. takes on Italy. America's tennis dream team, Sampras and Agassi, will anchor the U.S. efforts. Davis Cup Friday, starting Friday, March 31st here.
Slow red clay in Palermo, Sicily. I think the American boys can handle that quick switch of surfaces. Another cold winner for Magnus Larsson.
15 love, 1 game all.
Well, Sampras was telling us last night in his press conference he's going to play a little more clay court tennis this year than he did last year. He's going to go over and play Davis Cup and then Hamburg and Rome before the French. Forehand from Larsson, way out of court, way behind the baseline, went for broke. The big winner at a good 20 feet over the baseline.
Yep. 30-15, again, the big forehand from Larsson.
Off that high bounce, Agassi gave Larsson. He was really able to smack down on that ball. See how he really drove it from up to down. An unplayable winner, 30-15.
That looked like the old Drysdale back in.
Oh, thank you. This is a schmooze-fisted
He
here.
never got out that far, Butch, don't worry.
That's true.
Yeah.
Butch, why so many seeded players out here? I mean, it's been a graveyard for this. It plays a lot of them.
I think it's just the quality of tennis. I think you just got so many good tennis players out there, and anytime anything can happen. You know, I think the wind probably is a little bit of an equalizer, but I just think there's so many good tennis players. Back in our day, you'd probably look at the field and you'd say, okay, there's 16 people that can do some damage.
You gotta have a drink on Monday night and cheer.
Well, Butch, with all due respect, when you seed 64 players, you're going to lose some seeds. An ace from Magnus Larsson, 2-1 in the second.
Butch, thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate you coming up here. Congratulations on a great event. Larsson leading 2-1, second set. Agassi won the first. There's a look at the tennis center at Crandon Park here on the beautiful island of Key Biscayne. Behind that, the famous golf links here. It's a public course here on Key Biscayne. Great place to play. See the color of that water there. The prize money for the championships. You can see $330,000 to win it. The runner-up will take home $174. So they're playing for a difference today between the semifinal prize money and the runner-up prize money. Agassi to serve. Down 1-2.
It really is the last tournament of the hard court season. A lot of the players now go over to Europe for the red clay, and some of them stay over here until the French Open. They have a clay court circuit over here.
Also some tennis in Asia.
Interestingly enough, some of the Europeans like to stay over here. The American boys like to play in the tournaments over here in Pinehurst, Atlanta, Pinehurst, and then they go to Coral Springs for the red clay. Magnus Larsson is going to stay over here with a couple of the other Swedish boys to play that tour and then go straight from the warmer weather over to Paris.
Got it. 30-15. 1 hour older match so far.
This is what's happened so far. As far as service percentages, well, Agassi there is not going for the big first serve like Larsson, and unforced errors. Larsson has made nearly twice as many as Agassi.
Beach-like numbers on in the Agassi column. That's Brad Gilbert's influence entirely, almost 70%. Not a lot of unforced errors, not a lot of winners, just working the point.
It's interesting, though, that Larsson's hit nearly twice as many winners as Agassi, but he's had nearly twice as many errors also.
Exactly. He's creating the high-risk shots. I mean, Agassi used to be known for that. That is out. Now he is very much the bread and butter guy out there.
That's a bad shot. He wants to do it again. And he may win the point this way. Look at this.
Oh, no.
It was the sun, though. That's why Magnus Larsson was trying to throw out those little lobs. But the drop shots were really like, hey, Western Union, here I am. And he came in the crowd laughing, not realizing that this is another lob. And this is like into the sun. Agassi goes back, plays this one down the line. This is an easy one, but he just misses it totally right into the sun, hits it right on the top of the frame of the racket. Look at this. It's not, look how close he is to the net there. There's the ball kid right close up there. So with the crowd think, hey, well, maybe he's human, but the sun pretty much did that for him.
That is wide, and Agassi holds on and wins the game anyway. It's 2 games all second set. Remember that Pete Sampras takes on Jonas Bjorkman of Sweden tonight, and then the winners will play in the final on Sunday. Agassi's only lost 2 matches this year, including the final of the Newsweek to Pete Sampras. But he beat Sampras in the final at the Australian.
Lost to Enquist in Philadelphia, and then gave Enquist a tennis lesson out at Indian Wells.
That's his record since last year's U.S. Open. That goes wide. Guys, here's my musical question to you. I mean, Agassi, after beating Enqvist, said that he and Brad Gilbert had sat down, went over the tape, the videotape of the match, and came up with a new game plan to beat Enqvist. They've had a week, more than a week now, to go over the videotape of Agassi's losses. Sampras, 3 straight sets loss in the final of Indian Wells. What can they learn from that? What can they change from that? Another ace, 119 miles an hour, and that becomes Magnus Larsson's 5th.
Get out to a quick start, you know, against Pete Sampras like he did in Australia, and that might make a difference. But Sampras played a terrific match against Agassi there in the final. That's, you know, you got the 2 best in the world.
My opinion, you've got 2 ways of looking at that. Australia, Agassi was fresh going into the final. Sampras had played twice as many, nearly twice as many hours on the court as Agassi over a period of 2 weeks. That was a determining factor out there. The determining factor in Indian Wells was the fact that Sampras was fresh and he served very well. And Agassi then just couldn't control the points because of the Sampras backhand. They can look at the tape, they'll pick up on that, but what they're going to do to change it, I don't know, because Agassi's not going to come into the net and try and take that ball in the air. So it should be an interesting confrontation again if we get that match.
Meanwhile,
Second
Larsson's
ace.
got a game point here.
Yeah, second ace of the game from Larsson.
Got 6 for the match.
Very nice extension. Larsson uses every bit of his 6'3". We think it's probably closer to about 6'4", and then a nice, loose, relaxed snap. And that one, 123. 3 aces to hold in that game, so he keeps his nose out in front after dropping this first set.
Real Sabatini.
Mary's doing the tour of Florida. She's here for the Lipton. She's going to the Family Circle Cup. Then she comes back for Fed Cup at Turnberry, and they've announced that team yesterday. A
How
nice
about the
piece
Bosch
with
and
Billie
Lum,
Jean
too?
Bosch and Lum, all over the place.
I've even got family in Florida, so it's kind of convenient.
Andre Agassi's serve direction, you can see he likes that. He served all his aces out wide to that forehand. 66% of the time he's gone out to the long arm out there on that forehand side. And that opens the court for him there to get it over to the two-fisted backhand, or even to make Larsson take one hand off. The stats are nearly the same on the ad court. You could say that Agassi's got his tactics are to serve wide and wide here to open the court up, to get Magnus Larsson. He knows that that's not his strength, is mobility. So he gets it out there to open the court up and say, hey, if you can run these things down, hit winners, well and good. There's another one out to the backhand. Not really trying to do a lot with the serve. It's 71%. He kicks it out to the backhand, slices it out to the forehand. That's why those numbers are so high.
Oh, yeah.
Another one.
The old wide and wide players.
That's what we like to call the wide and wide. 5 aces now for Agassi. Yeah, it's a good idea when you know your opponent has limited mobility and balance on the run.
3 games all, no breaks here in the second set. A couple of chances, but no conversions. And in the first set, it was Agassi. Broke 3 times, actually, and was broken himself twice for 7-5. .102, wide serve to the forehand.
Magnus Larsson's tactics pretty much the same on the ad court. He throws that kicker out to the two-handed backhand of Agassi to try and get it up high so he can open the court just like that one there. And there, when he goes to the deuce court, again, he's serving wide and wide. Again, we mentioned at the start, this is a ground stroker's paradise here. It's not a serve and volleyer, so they try and open the court up. It gives them better percentage plays into the open court. Magnus Larsson, this is how he has served in this particular match. 65% of his first serves in. He's getting nearly 69%, but that 37% there on second service points won. Agassi leads the tournament as far as breaking serve on second serve points won. It's about 44% over the course of the tournament here, so it just shows you how well he has done in that department.
30 all. These two are both 24 years old, the Swede and the American.
Coming in, Larsson was winning 57% of the points on second serves, and against Agassi, it's down to 37.
Andre Agassi steers that one long. Larsson still ahead. 4-3 on serve, second. The Prudential Star Performers Gallery here at the Lipton features classic photos of tennis's legends and current stars. Most of the players, including the Rocket, Rod Laver, have signed their photos to help raise money for the Greater Miami Tennis Foundation. The lefty Rod Laver is in the history books as the only two-time Grand Slam winner in tennis history. Most say he was the best ever, Rod Laver.
What about the 7 years he lost because he turned professional? From 62 to 69, he wasn't allowed to play professional tennis. Imagine how he could have rewritten the history books with those 7 years.
Tell you what, Rod Laver is still a man that doesn't push himself around, and he talks to everybody, and he's been doing some clinics here today. And he got changed in the locker room that the players used to use, in there with all the wheelchair tournament boys, and he was talking to them, and just a great fellow to have around the sport. Has not changed over the years.
You got that right.
Agassi, if he were to win the French Open, or Pete Sampras for that matter, they'd be the first players to hold all 4 Grand Slam titles. It has not been done since the second time Laver did it in 1969. Some great players are missing jewels in the Grand Slam crown. Borg never won the U.S. Open. McEnroe and Connors never won the French. Becker never won the French.
That's Wielander never won Wimbledon.
Exactly. Lendl never won Wimbledon. Laver played and won it.
Newcomb never won the French.
That's right. You won the French.
Yeah, but
I guess you missed Wimbledon a couple of times in the final. But Laver won it in 62, won all 4 in 1 calendar year, then turned pro to make a little dough. And then when the game went professional in 1968, he did the Grand Slam again the very next year.
He was the first guy ever to make $100,000 in a year. Now they do it in a night.
That's right. Billie Jean King was the first woman to make $100,000 in a year. She now is the Federation Cup captain. Coming up in about a month.
Game point Agassi, 3-4.
That's the play out wide to the forehand. It opens up the court. This is the tactics that we talked about when we showed you those service directions. This was not a big serve, but it was well placed out to the forehand side. Now it comes back. Agassi has the open court, goes down the line, makes the approach. Now you can see Larsson had to take one hand off the racket. A single-handed passing shot, not a lot of pace on it, so Agassi has an easy put-away volley.
That's out and incorrected, so that the point will go to Larsson.
Well, now they may play 2, but Agassi never had a play on that ball anyway, so it's interesting whether Dana LeConte will make them play 2 or award the point to Agassi. Agassi's not even going to contest it. He's going to go back because he hasn't even talked to Larsson. He says, I'm going to go back and play it again.
Yeah, technically, I don't think he should be given 2.
No, I think that he did not have a play on that ball. It was too tough a shot. Again, this tactic is there to get Agassi if he's going to come into the net. It opens up the court to Larsson's favorite shot. Look how Larsson plays this approach shot off this one. He gets outside the double score to play this one and then down the line. But look where Agassi's got to go to get this. A lot of heavy topspin on that forehand from Larsson. Agassi can't reach it.
15 love. That's long. It's a 30 love Larsson here.
Larsson, look at that, the backhand errors from Magnus Larsson. That's where he's tried to overplay shots and play that one-handed backhand. Look at the net play. Nothing. Doesn't worry too much about anything, Larsson, does he? He just smiles at that one, says, hey, God, I missed that one by a fraction of an inch. I've had a bad call, and now, broken string. And just, well, I'll just walk over and get another
Larsson.
Definitely, he's a Swedish kind of a guy.
He's using that that same frame that Pete Sampras uses. It's that Wilson Pro Staff. And Sampras, as you know, breaks a bunch of strings. Agassi has his own racket. His is a head frame with his own name on the thing. It's a little more colorful than that one. You can see their Pro Staff. For a long time, they weren't making that racket, but then so many of the pros liked it that they started making it again. Agassi with a big headed frame. Agassi's an oversized racket, and that the Pro Staff is a mid-size.
And again, the big forehand from Magnus Larsson. He steps around it, and this time down the line. Agassi was looking for that off forehand that he's had a lot of success with.
Larsson's forehand is really something to see. He just hits it with such abandon, and he's got so much confidence in it, he just very, very seldom misses it. He's ahead 5-4 on serve. Larsson leading 5-4 in the second set. Agassi won the first set. We're on serve here in the second. Last year it was Pete Sampras who was trying to make it 4 in a row when he played the French Championships and failed. Agassi could make it 3 in a row if he wins the French this year.
And I both want it pretty bad, you know, and I certainly want his ranking, and I want the French Open, and he wants the French Open, and he likes his ranking. So it's a great ingredients here for an exciting not only just French Open but decade in tennis. I mean, we're hoping to take a standard of tennis to another level.
Another level just like that. And Agassi and Sampras, as we mentioned, with Butch Buchholz, and the top players have done so much with the Tennis Industry Association, the USPTA, the USTA, to try and take it to the kids and have a lot of fun, get more folks out here, more people participating in our sport. He hasn't been to the net a lot today, but he's been in there a lot more times than Larsson. Checking our stats out there. Larsson only been in 10 times, won 5. Agassi's been in twice as many times, but with the same winning percentage.
$30 love. As you were pointing out earlier, Fred, when they come to the net, the point is pretty much won. I mean, they don't chip and try to get there and then make the volley.
Well, he put that down as their weaknesses also, and it just shows up in that stat when they go in. Even when they go in behind good approach shots, they're just both at 50%. $30-15. Complaining, Agassi there, but something that lost point. Now a double fault. It's his third.
Great record. He hasn't had this kind of second set problem before, but now he's 2 sets from dropping.
2 points.
2 points for dropping this set. And the second serve, too. That's nice stuff.
Yeah, so interesting. He came on behind a slice.
Yeah, it's a good play, though.
He said to Brent Gilbert, I'm trying to hit it in the middle of the court. In other words, he was trying to cut off all the angles from Larsson. That's what he did here. He centered the ball time and again, and when he got himself an angle, he found an even better one. So now game point for 5-all.
It was a good move from Larsson now at 30-all to put pressure on Agassi. If he'd have missed it, it would have given him set point. It was the right play.
He brings back the two-hander into play. Deuce.
And that's a good play again from Larsson to go down to the forehand side. When the two-handed players serve, they like to run into that backhand corner and hit their big shot, their forehand again. And that's a smart play again from Larsson. So you heard about Agassi talking to Gilbert about his tactics. Larsson's thinking that it's a good tactical match at the moment.
Wide, game point, Agassi.
He's a little uptight today, Agassi, for
He really
some
is.
reason, isn't he?
As I
haven't
say,
seen
he's
him
been
like
edgy.
this, yeah.
He's, a little crabbier than normal. And then, of course, there's Magnus.
His crabbiness has cost him a couple of matches. Remember that one against Pete Sampras at the end of last year at the IBM ATP Tour World
Frankfurt.
Championship in Frankfurt.
And then he lost it against Engqvist as well. And I think that helped
In Philadelphia.
contribute to his loss in Philly in the semis. Yeah.
But he's got a game point.
Well, the last time these two played, he lost it. That's
The Grand
he
Slam
lost,
Cup.
lost his cool at the Grand Slam Cup, yeah.
He doesn't like playing Swedes and top seeds. Oh, man. That got called good. Daniel O'Connell agrees with the call.
I don't know whether he agrees with it or not. I didn't see it. I don't know how he can see it from up there.
He's not going to overrule it.
You can't call what you can't see. Look how he thumps this. He's outside the doubles line. Very close call, that one.
Yeah.
Agassi thought it was out.
Why would he try a one-handed lumpity-lump shot?
That was a...
Well, that was a good expression, yeah, a good explanation of the type of shot.
Look at that. He's talking to some folks in the crowd and he's saying, how was that one before? A lot of people out here have been pointing the fact that Baker was out. They're just trying to ingratiate themselves with him. This is game point Agassi.
Wow, he just blamed, and he wasn't being that serious, but he told the ball kid he'd take it. The last time he was getting a ball from that one, he'd lost the point. And he's a little nervous today.
I don't understand where all this one-handed backhand stuff is coming from. Agassi is in a great spot to win the point.
Well, there's nothing on this shot, and we talked about the weaknesses of Agassi. If he gets in there, he had to make a play on that volley. There was no pace on this little lumpity-lump shot of yours, Cliff, that sort of went down the line, and you know, he missed an easy volley.
It's over. And he missed it, and he has a set point for Larsson.
And what
Agassi
Agassi said, we can't tell you. Yeah.
Larsson held up his hand in almost an apology. You watch Larsson again stretch very, very wide off the deuce court. Time and again, it's worked for Agassi. Watch Larsson now. He'll hold up his hand apologetically, like, look, man, I didn't mean that to go over. But this becomes set point for Larsson.
Second serve. Agassi nets the set point, and it is Magnus Larsson who wins the second set. We've got one set all. Final set coming up.
He's still barking, Agassi, about the bad call he got, which has become a very expensive point for him. Again, he's had so few losses in the last half year, but 3 of them have come
when he's lost his temper.
when he's lost his mind. So let's see if he can pull it together here for the final set of this semi.
Ace, first point, 15 low.
This really gives Larsson an opportunity because he says, okay, Agassi, last time I played him, got upset with some calls and lost his cool, and it is now starting to happen again.
He's gone
Off the boil.
the famous Fred Stolle boil.
Well, he has not played a very good game here in the opening game of the third set. Still annoyed with the chair umpire, Daniel Leconto.
Didn't even try on that one. Let's see if he's going to talk to Leconto again. Boy, he's got to calm down if he's going to get himself to the final.
1 game to love, Larsson, third set. Look at Andre Agassi, who just changed his shirt. And he's down now to Magnus Larsson, then the third set on serve. He'll serve. But he just lost the second set 6-4. Got upset at a call there when he was serving. And lost his serve to lose the second set. Had he got the call that he wanted, he would have won that game. But that brought it back to deuce. He had ad, but then Larsson came back and won it.
And Agassi had words with Daniel Leconto on the changeover.
I'm a little surprised that Agassi has not yet been warned for bad language. I'm sure Daniel Leconto has heard some of this stuff. And people on this court this week have been warned and fined for a lot less.
That one sails long.
You never know what to do with somebody like Larsson. You know, that shot missed by a good 10 or 12 feet, and it was not a difficult one, yet he comes up with some of the most fantastic shots under pressure, and then something like that, an easy one, he just rips and it just goes long, and he just moves over and plays another one. Very difficult to get into any rhythm with him.
I think when he makes errors, real bad errors, Larsson, it's because he hasn't really moved his feet and the ball gets behind him. But when he sees the ball and really has his contact point out in front, it's a very aggressive shot. 3 quick points from Agassi. This could screw his head back on straight.
Yeah, but you know how tough it is at this stage, because just a one badly played game, you can get behind and then never really find a way to climb out of it. Watch this.
Just taking his time here, Agassi, measuring this particular point, moves in for the slice backhand and plays the angle for a winner. What happened in the second set here. Winners, unforced errors for Agassi. Look at that. That's when you know you're getting beat. And Larsson is better in the winners than the unforced errors column. That's when you know you're playing pretty good tennis.
15-all. Larsson he's had a pretty good draw in this tournament. He took out Jaime Izaga in the last round. Meantime, Izaga had taken out Enquist, who would have been a tough match for Larsson. Before that, he took out David Wheat. excuse me, before that he took out Paul Kilberry from Australia. He was a qualifier here. So things worked out well for him.
Larsson has not been very productive from the net, but he goes in behind a pretty good shot here. And again, it's an easy volley up round shoulder height, and he gets enough speed on that one to get it away from Agassi. Into the sun again. Smart move from Agassi to let that one bounce.
Still threw it right into Larsson. I mean, he was right there. He did not have, wasn't quick enough to react, though. 30 all. That is his 10th ace, Larsson. He leads 2-1. To the West Coast. 2 games to 1. Larsson with the lead here in the 3rd set on serve. Agassi's here trying to level things in set 3.
Well, Agassi is yet to lose a point on serve in this 3rd and final set.
Two games all.
Not a lot of rallies in this 3rd set. It's been totally controlled by the server, or a few aces. Agassi finishes up this game with an ace, and Larsson finished up the last service game with an ace. Talked about Magnus Larsson having his strength being his serve. He's lost only 9 points in his last 6 service games. So he's found pretty good rhythm.
He's got 10 aces, which is, I mean, not an extraordinary number, so it's not because he's serving aces. Takes the one-hand off. I mean, really, why would he do that? I mean, I can see it, an approach shot. But
it's odd that he tried to open up break open the point like that. But I think, I mean, 9 points in 6 service games, now 10. I mean, what that's really saying is against the best returner by far in men's tennis. This guy continues to dominate.
So that's 120-mile-an-hour first serve, Marion. He's up very close to 70% on first serve. So
I honestly think it's that languid Larsson serve is very hard for Agassi to play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. You don't know if he gets it in. Agassi's been caught playing one-handed shots, and I agree with you.
And then he's got that one there, the same kind of thing.
And even when Agassi's changed his mind, he started to stay back. Now he's got back into standing inside the baseline to take the returner serve, but if he doesn't get it deep enough, when Larsson's got this huge forehand that he comes up and he's hitting winners with.
As we were saying earlier, sort of leads with the body, and then the whip shot racket comes behind it on the serve and forehand. And there's a double fault, and we haven't seen, that's only his third.
You know, he's a little bit like, and not stylistically, but just Goran Ivanisevic has a huge serve that he doesn't come in behind. You know, then uses the power off his ground strength. Ivanisevic has bothered Agassi too. Another ace, 114, that's 11.
Terrific tennis. They're both playing well. It's 3-2 Larsson on serve, third set. Larsson has the lead here on serve, 3-2 in the third set. This is the second of the Super 9 for this year. Pete Sampras already got one of them under his belt. He won Indian Wells over under Agassi in the final there. This is Key Biscayne. And then it's onto the clay courts of Europe, Monte Carlo, Hamburg, and Rome. Then to the summer circuit here in the North American continent. And then back again to Europe at the end of the year. It all finishes up in Frankfurt and then Jakarta for the doubles. And it is all carried here on ESPN. The events in North America 7 days worth, and from Europe 4 days mostly.
Agassi still checking the position of the sun. That's his fourth double fault.
15 all. He has backed up behind the baseline a few times, Agassi, in the match, but more often than not, he's stalking the baseline. He gives very little ground. 19-9 in forehand winners.
But Agassi's supposed to have the biggest forehand.
Probably not the biggest forehand, but certainly the most consistent. Now there you just see what a free spirit this guy is. He goes for that big winner down the line. It barely misses, and he just looks up and gives it a little wry smile. Look at this forehand, just a very easy swing through. He looks up there, and that's it.
That's a good serve from Agassi, 104 mile an hour, but very well placed. Middle line and serve line both, and it's game point.
I'm getting a little surprised here that Larsson isn't expecting a wide one to the deuce side, because Agassi just keeps going there. And that pulls him off balance for the rest of the point.
Look at this, another one-handed backhand. He's way behind the baseline and continues to play that shot. This game is important. It's the 7th game of the 3rd and final set, and this is where Agassi, over the last 4 or 5 months, has been able to just kick it in another gear. And Brad Gilbert talked to him the other night after a match with Mel Washington when he was down and said, hey, you know, it's tough to do that all the time. There was times when that was not going to happen to you.
For you. Yeah. And so I'm going to tell you, Magnus Larsson is going to be a lot harder to break than Melody Washington.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot more intense, though, in that particular point there.
You guys were saying something during last break that I think we should repeat here, because I agree with it, and that is that Agassi would rather have Larsson be serving and bowling, to give him a target, than have this big serve and then stay back and then look at this thumping forehand. Neither one of these guys knows the meaning of the word play it safe. 127 mile attempt.
I think Agassi's much more conservative than Larsson. His game looks flashy, but he's going for the big numbers. He's working these points. Larsson's one that's splitting him open with shots like that. Agassi's trying to grind down Larsson. But boy, you know, when you got a guy that big, that strong, and that supple and whippy, Bang, the point gets broken open with one slash. 30-15 now.
He plays a great two-handed down the line and off a tough shot. That's an easy reply, that one. He gets the big serve, gets it, and then just doesn't get his feet in position, doesn't turn the shoulders, and plays a miserable shot like that, and it's back to 30 all. Big point.
122 effort. Good approach shot. Again, when he comes in, he's pretty much got it won as hard as he hit that approach.
Well, Agassi's not used to getting that serve jumping up at him, and he's not getting enough depth on the return, and it's allowing for Larsson to do to Agassi what Agassi normally likes to do to his opponent.
Yeah, but Sampras did that to Agassi at the final of Indian Well, too, the big high kicker. That was a flat. Boy, and Larsson thought he had himself his 12th ace.
Agassi
I did too. Everyone did.
Whistles from the crowd, but hey, you got to play the call.
Yeah, at 3-all in the third to get to the final. You play the call.
Remember this moment.
But he's still not handling that high kick.
Larsson ahead 4-3. Third set. a.m. Eastern Time tonight. Look at that. Only 1 point on his serve in this set.
Well, that tells you something, because you very rarely see Agassi go into the net unless he has a pretty good shot at making the volley. And a little nervously there, he went from behind the baseline, actually, to get into that one, and then faced a big two-fisted backhand cross-court. Danger time here.
Close. As you said, this is a dangerous point of this match. A very dangerous time here. And if Agassi had got down love 30, look out. 15 all. Yeah, he's only lost one game, but you know how quickly things can change. (30-15). Again, old Larsson, he's just ambling around there in the baseline. He hits himself a shot critically important. Make no mistake.
Yeah.
It's like just playing with Fred Stolle on a Sunday afternoon with some of your corporate schmooze people.
Look at this.
That's hard to do that. Spiking it off the backhand smash side is not easy. It's a great little wrist snap from Agassi.
Two very casual points here from the Swede. Look at this. He just takes one step. Well, no, maybe I'll take two, and I'll just flick up a little lob here. And Agassi there, that is a great shot. Good jump. And it was a forehand that set this one up. Larsson just trying to make Agassi do a little bit of extra work. But that takes some doing. It's a strong right arm to snap that wrist like that.
Here comes another big old serve.
This has been the dilemma for Agassi. He hasn't been able to pick the serve. He doesn't know whether to go in and take the kicker inside the baseline or stand a couple of yards behind and get into the point. He does know that Larsson's not serving and volleying.
Say the same thing that you said last game, Fred, when it was 15 all. This is another big moment.
seems like sort of an afterthought for him to swing at the ball. You know, well, I'm over here. I'm in the neighborhood. I might as well give it a bit of a nudge.
Well, a big serve from Larsson. If you tuned in to watch the Nabisco Dinah Shore, welcome to our coverage of the Lipton Championships. We're going to stay with this semi-final match. It's Andre Agassi and Magnus Larsson until it's over. Tammy Green still in the lead out on the West Coast. That is wide. Magnus Larsson leading now 5-4 on serve. Agassi will try to stay in this match at the Lipton. Wondering where Fred Stolle has been most of this lunch hour. The pasta place welcomed you a few times.
That's where I've had to take you for some terrific pasta.
5-4 in the third set here. It has, I mean, they really have created something different. If you come to the Lipton Championships now, you can hit tennis balls, you can hit serves. There's the ATP Tour Fan Fest.
As you mentioned, this is a festival of tennis now. They're trying to create that, and there's many things for the kids to do, for the spectators. They can check up on their favorite players, what they're doing. Going to check in with this one right now, though.
Low. Agassi on the edge here in this match. 5-4. Larsson. If Larsson wins another game, if he wins this one, he wins a match, of course, but if he wins another game, then a tiebreak is the best that Agassi will be able to do. Yeah, 15 all. Live Nabisco Dinah Shore Golf coming up next year on ESPN. For the moment, you are, I hope, enjoying watching the Lipton Championships from the east coast of the USA. Dinah Shore out the Palm Springs area. 15 all.
Did you mention about that swinging forehand there? He was looking for that one, wasn't he?
Yeah,
But he took a huge swing.
He overplayed that one. He really wanted to give it a thump. So a little surprising at this stage of this 3-set match that Larsson doesn't even make him play some very big points.
I was just thinking the same thing. You can't sort of draw a line here, can you? He comes up with some unbelievable shots and then makes unforced errors off second serves.
30 backhand errors now for Larsson.
Look at this. So three-quarter pace, three-quarter court ball, and takes one step to try and hook a single-handed backhand in there. And now it's 5 all. But then he's likely to come out and just roll over and with 3 aces in this game. We don't know what to tell you, folks.
Is he tired? Is that a possibility? I mean, is he just exhausted?
No, I don't think that. I don't think that's it. I really don't.
I don't either.
I don't think he can get out there, Cliff. You've played this week, and he hasn't had any real tough matches, Larsson. So I don't think that's a factor. It should not be.
Sometimes the nervous tension tire you out that you can't really see. But
I don't think this guy has any nerves. I don't think he's got a nervous system.
5 all.
Look at that. I'll just tell you, roll your arm over, spank a couple of big serves. He's gone wide to the forehand, wide to the backhand.
122 for his 12th ace. He's playing the most hyped guy in tennis. And he's the most unhypeable guy pretty much in men's tennis. That's 2 aces in a row now.
Said he might serve 3 in this game. He's 1 short so far. He's 40 love.
13 in the match.
That's a let.
The
He's
let
half
got
an
away.
inch away from it, yeah.
Two of his compatriots, Mats Wilander and Jonas Bjorkman, played yesterday in the late afternoon. A terrific match. Mats Wilander had 5-2, 2 breaks, and he was serving for the match, and he lost to Bjorkman. Mats Wilander gives nothing away emotions-wise. Bjorkman does, though. He's kind of demonstrative. Not so Larsson, who's ahead against Agassi, 6-5, third set. Car rally. We're in the third set, 6-5. Larsson ahead, no breaks here in the third set. Nabisco Dinah Shore up next year. Live coverage as soon as this tennis match is over. Love 15.
More cursing from Agassi.
Second serve, love 15, 5-6. Miss hit on the forehand.
Agassi once again, though, under pressure, was forced to go to the net. And Larsson has been playing that cross-court forehand very consistently. It was a big time, a big moment, and he shanked it.
Going for the angle there, or was that a little elbow?
I thought he tried to cover the ball too much. Coach Brad Gilbert watching on. His man is 2 points from being gone.
15-30. 30 all. Still 2 points from being gone. Also 2 points from getting himself into a tiebreak. Great shot.
Man, that's a wonderful smash on a huge point. A very, very high defensive lob from Larsson.
You don't realize how difficult a shot this was, because it was a terrible return from Larsson, and Agassi is forced to go for the big one into the corner. But watch this defensive lob. This is the best play in the book if you're in trouble, and this is a good lob way back into the corner, and Agassi goes for it. That takes guts to do at this stage of a match, and he made it.
Oh, he tried to steer that one down the line, and he just mishit it completely. Looked like it clipped near the throat of the racket and flew.
Missed one of those earlier, if you remember, where he tried to go cross-court. That time he tried to go back in behind Larsson.
Again, Larsson knew where Agassi was going to be aiming that serve. He's been going wide off the deuce all day long.
He was there, and he goes for the big one. Didn't even come close, though.
Nope. That was a wild thing. Game point Agassi.
Still, nobody's steering this thing in, and I hope that the other guy's going to make a mistake. They both know they've got to win it. a great point from both players. What an effort from Agassi just to keep himself in the point.
Agassi just said, well, this is quite an incredible shot. Agassi, just if you could lip read there, says, how stupid can I be? Look at this. Plays a drop shot, not a good one, but Larsson knows exactly where this is going. Agassi covers the line. He has all day just to roll this little flick across court.
Stupid what, Fred? The approach shot.
Oh, that's what Agassi said to himself. How stupid can you be? Because Larsson was right there waiting.
Very nearly his biggest serve of the day, 113. His fastest so far had been 114. So another gutsy deuce point from Agassi.
Andre Agassi, the #2 player in the world at the moment, and he is on the edge of a precipice, trying to get into the tiebreak here. Game point, Agassi. He got it! Running forehand from Agassi for a winner, and we will see a tiebreak which will decide who gets to the final of the Lipton Championships for this year. Remember, Agassi played in the final last year against Pete Sampras. Look at this one again.
He hasn't made too many of these in the match, and that one was very close to being called out. The crowd wanted it, but Agassi just shows you what champions are made of when they're down. Look at this on full run. He gets the racket back, flicks it cross-court in front of Larsson, and just yells at that lines judge there because he thought the earlier stroke in that point was long.
Tie break, first to 7 with a 2-point lead, wins the match. Nabisco Dinosaur coming up next. Live coverage from Palm Springs. One to the Swede, Larsson. Remember, Agassi here is the #2 player in the world. Pete Sampras is the #1. Sampras still alive at the Lipton. Sampras won it last year over Agassi in the final. Agassi's trying to overtake Sampras as the top player in the world. He will help his cause greatly if he can get into the final and then overturn last year's decision. One to Larsson. That one he makes no mistake on. He's made a couple of forehand volley errors, not that time.
Again, nothing on that shot. Agassi has to generate his own pace. This time he's forced to go in one more time. It's not a good shot from Larsson up around shoulder height, but Agassi makes no mistake, gets in position for that volley to bring it back to 1 point all.
10 and 2 for Larsson, and 4 and 1 tiebreak record. That is out the mini break to Agassi. Excuse me, it is not a mini break. It's Larsson to serve, trailing 1-2.
On serve they are.
Yeah.
Well, he got onto that return. That's one of the few that Agassi has got hold of. And you can see Larsson shaking his head. He served that serve 15 times today and won most of them. And that time Agassi was out in front of the ball and made it.
Agassi's not backing up. He's right on the baseline. Double fault. And Larsson loses 2 on his serve. 4 points to 1 Agassi. He's got 2 serves to come. What a turnaround here.
What a time to serve a double fault. It's only his 4th double fault of the match, and he brings it up in the tiebreaker. Larsson has been known to get a little nervous in tight situations, but everybody does that.
Oh, the guy with ice water in his vein. 4-1 Agassi.
Boy, he's played a terrible tiebreak.
Terrible.
This match has been so competitive for so long now, and this tiebreak has become a rout.
Well, if Agassi gets through to win this, you can be sure that the man that was with us about 20 minutes ago, the tournament director, Butch Buckles, will go into his office and have a stiff scotch.
Is there any doubt in your mind that you'll win it now, Fred?
No, I don't think so, Cliff, but I tell you what.
A lot of donations from Larsson.
Cliff Buckles, Butch's brother, who is Cliff.
He's sweating just as much as these guys.
Yeah, he is.
5-1. 6-1 Agassi's got a handful of match points for a place in the final of the Lipton for this year. Live coverage here. Cliff Drysdale, Mary Carrillo, Fred Stolle enjoying watching this semi-final match on a beautiful day. Match points, Agassi. One was all he needed. Agassi is in the final of the Lipton. This is where he was last year. And will he get the chance to play against Pete Sampras in the final on Sunday? Well, Pete Sampras tonight will have to take on Jonas Bjorkman of Sweden. And you can watch that match here at 1 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Up next, it's the LPGA Dinah Shore. For Fred Stolle and Mary Carrillo, I'm Cliff Drysdale. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody, for our coverage today of the Lipton Championships. Andre Agassi, a winner in the semi-final. It is Nabisco Golf up next. So we will say goodbye from the Lipton and welcome Brent Musburger and Judy Rankin out on the West Coast.